So guys, it's quite interesting that despite the comic book rivalry between Marvel and DC that still exists today, several actors have appeared in films from both companies. While the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been incredibly successful, DC is attempting to keep up, and while it's true that some individuals have a preference for one side or the other, there is no reason why one cannot enjoy both franchises. Let's take a look. This is our ranking of the top 15 actors who appeared in both Marvel and DC movies. At number 1 is Michael Keaton. During the 1980s, the notion of Michael Keaton playing the legendary Dark Knight was met with some skepticism. However, once he donned the costume, it was obvious he was perfect for Batman. Keaton managed to pull off the perfect blend of Bruce Wayne, the wealthy playboy, and the intimidating caped crusader. Even decades after his Batman role, he made an unforgettable impression as the Vulture in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was both menacing and sympathetic, making him one of the MCU's most remarkable villains. Keaton is set to return as both characters in forthcoming films, marking 30 years since his first comic book role. This makes him a one-of-a-kind actor, embodying both a hero and a villain in two distinct franchises. Next is Josh Brolin. Despite the less than enthusiastic reaction to Josh Brolin's portrayal of Jonah Hex in a DC movie, his subsequent roles in Marvel films went a long way in making amends for it. His physical features and gruff attitude lent him perfectly to the part of Cable in Deadpool 2, and he had a great rapport with Ryan Reynolds, as well as some fantastic action scenes. While Cable was great, it is undeniable that his best comic book role so far has been Thanos. He was able to make an evil purple titan who wanted to exterminate half of the universe's population appear to have legitimate reasoning. Brolin set a high bar for how villains in comic book adaptations should be depicted. At position 3 is Chris Evans. Before the establishment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Chris Evans was already well known as the impulsive Human Torch in the Fantastic Four film series. He also briefly appeared in DC's The Losers as a computer specialist named Jake Jensen, yet neither of those roles could compare to the magnitude of his performance as Captain America. During his 8-year tenure, he became the embodiment of patriotism and heroism, with an unwavering commitment to protecting the world, along with the unforgettable opening sequence of one of the most memorable action scenes of the decade. Then we have Natalie Portman. Neither the anarchist wearing the Guy Fawkes mask nor the God of Thunder would have achieved their goals without the assistance of Natalie Portman. In her role as Evie Hammond, she depicted a character whose mundane life is upended when she's enlisted in V's undertaking. Throughout the film, she manages to discover the guts to battle corruption. Portman made a big splash in the superhero realm again when she played the eccentric astrophysicist Jane Foster. She made great efforts to use her knowledge and intelligence to help gods and mortals alike. With Portman set to reprise her role as the superpowered Jane in the fourth Thor film, her destiny in the genre appears hopeful. At number 5 is Ryan Reynolds. Not all actors have the ability to recover from leading roles in 3 failed superhero films. Reynolds initially tested the Marvel Cinematic Universe with his part in Blade Trinity, however that endeavor was unsuccessful. He then portrayed Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and although he was humorous, the audience was not pleased when the character was changed so drastically that he could not use his voice. After this, Reynolds was further disgraced when he ventured to DC for the widely criticized Green Lantern. Despite these disappointments, he was eventually allowed to play Wade Wilson accurately in the initial Deadpool, which allowed him to demonstrate his acting abilities while mocking his past failures. It's an incredible and therapeutic sight to behold. Next is Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's representation of Bane was faultless. He accurately depicted the supervillain's cunning, threatening demeanor, and exceptional physical power. Even his curious accent has become beloved by devotees. After Hardy had depicted a typical DC comic book villain, he tested his luck at playing the Marvel antihero Eddie Brock. Upon this journalist's fusion with an extraterrestrial symbiote, he can take on the form and faculties of anyone who rouses his ire. Hardy brings a remarkable amount of wit and charisma to this murky role, and after watching him act in 2 movies and counting as Brock, we're pleased he was granted the opportunity to attempt the part of an antihero after performing Bane. Then we have Willem Dafoe. Without Vulko, Aquaman would not have been prepared to take the throne. This dedicated and firm inhabitant of Atlantis was ever ready to provide Arthur Curry with helpful advice. Before embodying this rather impressive character, Dafoe was Norman Osborn, otherwise known as the Green Goblin. It was captivating to observe him portray a mundane business person whose mental state gradually deteriorates throughout the movie. While Dafoe portrayed certain aspects of the role earnestly, he was also able to exaggerate certain scenes to make them even more amusing. We still cite this nefarious villain's lines today because of the actor's standout delivery. At number 8 is Ben Affleck. It cannot be denied that Academy Award winner Ben Affleck took on the character of Daredevil in a movie for which the most positive comment would be that it exists. performance. After that failure, he endeavored to portray another renowned character, Batman, for which he was notably better suited. His portrayal of Batman was a rougher interpretation of the iconic superhero, yet still warm enough to persuade other heroes to join his cause. Affleck's work in the role significantly restored his standing in the comic book world. Whenever he put on the suit and got into battle, we cannot take our gaze away from the screen. Next is Idris Elba. Many Marvel enthusiasts are familiar with the incredible British actor who is renowned for his role as the protector of Asgard, Heimdall. This character was seen to uphold the laws of Asgard and kept a watchful eye on the Bifrost. Elba also took on a heroic role in the second Ghost Rider movie as Moreau. Nevertheless, he took a different direction when he starred as the explosives expert Roke in The Losers, showcasing his dark, villainous side while playing Bloodsport in The Suicide Squad. His portrayal of Bloodsport was distinctive and showed that Elba still has a lot to offer to the superhero genre. At the 10th position is J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons has lent his voice to several DC characters on TV and eventually made his debut in a live-action DCEU project as Commissioner Gordon. Although his performance was satisfactory, the most renowned comic book character is J. Jonah Jameson, which he portrayed excellently in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films. Simmons was able to evoke a range of emotions in the audience with just one facial expression, leading him to be recast in the role, this time in an alternate universe. His portrayal has been positively received by fans, and they're eager to witness him play the humorous media mogul for as long as possible. At number 11 is Hugo Weaving. During the 2011 Captain America movie, Hugo Weaving portrayed the villainous Red Skull who could shift between campy and frightening in an instant. On the contrary, we also saw Weaving play the heroic V who fought against a totalitarian London using his knives and incredible alliteration. Both of these characters are so distinct that it's impossible to decide which performance we like better. Nevertheless, V and Red Skull would be at odds if they were to come face to face. Next is Michelle Pfeiffer. In 1992, Michelle Pfeiffer moved from her timid secretary role to the unforgettable Catwoman. Her character proved to be skillful, utilizing whips, claws, and allure to overpower her foes. Pfeiffer also managed to reveal the softness of her Catwoman persona. Afterwards, she donned a shrinking suit in Ant-Man and the Wasp to make an impact. Janet Van Dyne is a more admirable figure, displaying benevolence even to her enemies. Though Pfeiffer's Marvel persona is more sober than her Catwoman character, it's still pleasing to observe her contributing her expertise to another superhero franchise. Then we have Djimon Hounsou. Djimon Hounsou has a notable list of comic book credits to his name. He kickstarted his career in the genre when he appeared as Papa Midnight in Constantine. Afterwards, he undertook the part of Korath, which he reprised in later films. Additionally, Hounsou portrayed King Riku in the first Aquaman movie and the titular wizard in Shazam. Regardless of the character he took on, his committed and powerful performances were always remarkable. His broad spectrum of roles whets our appetite to learn which comic book character he will portray in the future. At number 14 is Michael Fassbender. It's incredible to think that Michael Fassbender, a renowned actor, played Burke in the film Jonah Hex, a one-dimensional character. Fortunately, this role was quickly forgotten when Fassbender started portraying Magneto. He perfectly encapsulated the suffering that Magneto had to go through in his life and the darkness that eventually drove him to become a hazardous supervillain. Every time Fassbender reprised his role, he brought something new to the character, creating an irresistible draw to the theaters. Last but not least is Zachary Levi. It's understandable if you don't remember Zachary Levi's role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as his character from The Warriors 3 didn't get a great deal of screen time or backstory. However, his casting as the protagonist of the DC Universe movie Shazam was spot on. His performance captured the essence of a teenage boy who becomes a superhero, and he was able to convey the energy of a young person yet also appear serious when needed. Levi was destined to play Shazam even though he might have excelled as Fandral in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anyway guys, we would love to hear your thoughts on our compilation of the top 15 characters who appeared in both Marvel and DC movies. Also, feel free to share your thoughts on some key actors you feel we left out but should have made it to this list. And lastly, remember to subscribe and like our content for more videos like these, and we'll see you in the next one.